have some kind of agenda that we have set for our day one over here. One is we'll check what is generally the prerequisite to work with Playwright. When we talk about a prerequisite, uh, we generally define saying that, let's say, example, let's say when we go for a driving, right? When we go for learning some kind of driving, what do we do generally require as a prerequisite? One is you have to consult some of the driving school, or if you already have a car, then you can take the car and find out a driver so that you can learn the driving. So these are prerequisite, which is you need to have a car or you need to consult some kind of driving school, and they will again give you some number of sessions, and after that you will be able to uh, start learning the driving, right? So this is a general real life example for the prerequisite. What is meant by prerequisite? So here in the same way, whenever we start working with Playwright, what are the things that we require in terms of working with Playwright? What are generally um, that we require in our system to start writing the test case using Playwright? What kind of system, what kind of specification that we require to work with Playwright, to install Playwright, configure the Playwright, and then start writing the test case in terms of Playwright. So these are known as prerequisite. These are known as prerequisite. That means if you are trying to learn some kind of programming, let's say again a real-time example, that if you are trying to learn some kind of programming, first that you need to have is a basic, at least basic knowledge of some programming. If you do not have, then you will start learning from some or other website or from the coaching. But before that, we also require the system that you need to have. If you are trying to learn something, then at that point of time, either you require a laptop or a desktop, or at least a mobile phone where you can start learning from so and so website. Uh, Before that, also you require internet connection to be available with you to start learning from wherever you are trying to learn. So these are again prerequisite to learn something. In the same way, whenever we go for writing the Playwright, whenever we go for writing the Playwright test case, or whenever we go for writing the concept learning for a concept, the content that we have in terms of JavaScript, we require some kind of prerequisite to have with us to start working using JavaScript and start basically writing the test case using Playwright and JavaScript. And that is what known as prerequisite. Second part, we'll see like how do we do the installation of Playwright. So whenever we start writing the test case, generally, how do we do the installation? We uh, basically, what is Playwright? Playwright is a tool. Playwright is a jar file. What generally tools used to be? So if I talk about the tools that are available in the market, any of the tools, either you take Selenium or you take Cypress or Playwright, every tools will consist of a jar file. Every tools will consist of a jar file, and this jar file will consist of different number of packages. Okay, so generally any kind of tool you take it out, that will be a jar file, either that you can download or you can install it as a software, okay, inside our system. So every tools, either you take Selenium is a jar file again that we can download from the internet. Cypress is a jar file. Playwright is a jar file which you can install from anywhere available on the internet. And that jar will consist of packages. Now, what is package? Package is a collection. Package is basically a collection of classes. Okay, so package is generally a collection of classes. So this package will consist of multiple classes. Okay, so this package will consist of multiple classes. And what is having inside the class? So class will consist of methods, which is also known as functions, and properties, which is also known as variables. We'll talk about this when we start learning JavaScript in detail, like what is variable, what is functions, everything will go in detail. We just wanted to understand what generally a tool used to be. Okay, just wanted to understand what generally a tool used to be. We should be learning over here JavaScript in our courses over here using Playwright using JavaScript. Okay, so now I'm currently talking about what used to be what generally used to be a tool is. What is generally a tool is? What is Playwright? What is Cypress? What is Selenium, Catalan Studio, or any other part that are available? So those are known as a tool, which basically consist of which basically consist of a jar file. That is generally a jar file, which will be freely available on the internet if that is a open source. Okay, that is a jar file. Jar file will consist of a number of packages. Packages is what is package generally. So if you see over here, whatever the folder that you see are one package. Whatever the folder that you see, pages, node modules, playwright, test data, test, these are packages. And inside this package, we can create a number of files and number of classes. That is known as a package. Package will again consist of number of classes. Okay, it can have a different number of classes inside the package. What is class? Class used to be a collection of methods and properties. To access the properties and method of the class, we need to create an object. We'll talk about what is object and all these terminologies, what I'm trying to discuss right now in our later sessions. This classes will consist of methods, which is also known as functions, and then properties, which is also known as variables. Okay, and whenever we have to take the help of these classes or these packages or the methods that are available inside the classes, we have to import inside our editor. We have to import inside our system wherever we are trying to write the test case or wherever we are trying to write the programming. When we import these packages, when we import these classes, whatever is available inside, let's say X packages or Y packages, or inside X classes or Y classes, everything will automatically be available inside our system. So jar file says that without installing or without downloading me, you cannot use anything that are available inside me. So first you have to install, and second you have to import inside the file inside the classes wherever you are trying to use me. Example, let's say you're working with Java. Example, let's say you're working with Java and you are trying to use a concept known as array list or concept as array or array list. Let's take an example of array list. So what Java says that you cannot directly go and write an array list. You cannot directly use array list over here. I'll not identify what kind of things that you are trying to write. For that, you have to import a package. For that, you have to import a package. What kind of package? Wherever array list is available as a class. That package you have to import inside your system, import inside your program wherever you are trying to write. So at that point of time, what will happen is there is a package known as java.io.utils. Okay, this is a package available inside the Java. Whenever you try to work with array list, Java will say that first you have to import this package. This is a package. Array list is generally a class. Array list is available as a class. This is a class. Okay, so Java says that if you are trying to use array list as a class inside your program or inside your test case, you first have to import the packages where this JavaScript, where this array list is available as a classes. That is where this concept came into picture and why I wanted to make you people understand that what is meant by tool, what is meant by jar, packages, and classes. So you'll see going forward, like we'll try to import some of the things from the Playwright. And at that point of time, these concepts will be helpful. So that's where Java says that to use array list class, you have to import a package where array list is available. Do not worry, like if you are not trying to connect whatever we are trying to say, everything I'll discuss again once we start with JavaScript and Playwright. This is the basic concept that we have to understand before we move towards a basic concept of understanding JavaScript and Playwright. Okay, so that's where we have to import packages to work with classes and import classes to work with methods and variables that are available inside the classes. Okay, so we'll see like going forward, we'll install few of the we'll import few of the packages, we'll import few of the classes from different like Playwright and JavaScript both. Okay, now this concept came into picture when I was trying to speak about installation of Playwright. Now, this is why we require a Playwright to be installed our system. That is where we will be able to utilize the features that Playwright has given, the classes that Playwright has given, the methods that Playwright has given. Without installing Playwright, we'll not be able to work or write any kind of test case using Playwright. So second agenda that we'll see in our session today is installation of Playwright. That means how do we make a project or make a framework for Playwright. Now, one more thing that we have to understand is Playwright. Um, anyone is trying to say anything? Yes, Kavita.
So why do I need to go to learn Playwright instead of Cypress? Cypress also having JavaScript and TypeScript and has all the features when compared with the Playwright, right?
Did you join the yesterday's session?
No.
Okay, so I believe like that's where you missed this concept. So there are a lot of advantages that we have in terms of going for a Playwright over Cypress. So let's see if you try to see over here in terms of our courses, in terms of the document that I have prepared over here. So this is the comparison that we have gone yesterday as well for checking like why do we go for Playwright over Selenium and why do we go for Playwright over Cypress. So if you see in this case, uh, what Cypress is that Cypress will also does the similar kind of operation what Playwright does, but there are some kind of you know advantage that we have in terms of working with Playwright. One is whenever you are working with cross-browser testing, Cypress is having a limited support. When we say like cross-browser, that means working on different browsers, which is like Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Edge, and other things. Playwright by default have those kind of support. We'll see again as a part of today's session itself. So Playwright by default has those kind of support where we can easily navigate through each and every browser that it supports, including the mobile version of browser that Playwright supports. Second advantage, if you have worked with Cypress or if you have some kind of knowledge in Cypress, you might be knowing that whenever we have to do a cross-domain testing, that means let's say if you click on a tab, if you click on a button and that is opening another new tab or new window, handling of multiple windows or multiple tabs in terms of Cypress is a bit difficult things. You have to use Origin to navigate through the different domain, and then you can write some kind of concept, like which is generally not supported inside the Cypress. By taking the help of jQuery, where we take the help of again cy.origin. Cy is, you know what is cy available, which is a global fixture available inside the Cypress. That is by default not supported. We have to write some kind of customized logic to support that. Playwright fully support those kind of things without even taking the help of any other method. However, we try to write the test case, it will automatically support those kind of things. Basic performance testing also can be done by the Playwright. When we talk about API testing, we know that both of them, both of Cypress and Playwright will be able to do. Playwright has a fully support of the API testing as well, complete support of API testing. We can depend on the Playwright. File uploading and downloading. This is a concept where we can attach a file, like that means we can upload a file inside any of the fields that are available, which is having a inside the Cypress, we cannot directly upload the file. We need to have some kind of workaround to upload the file let's say image file or PDF file or any kind of document. Playwright by default support those kind of things. We do not have to depend on any third-party tool, any workaround. It has given one particular example where it automatically supports the upload and download. Headless execution, both of them supports. Network mocking, both of them supports. Mobile emulation, Cypress is having limited. Playwright is having a fully supports, where the similar test case, whatever we are trying to write for the web automation, will work on the browser, mobile browser as well. So these are the few advantages that we have. Apart from that, there are lot many advantages. Cypress have some kind of, like, when you go for advanced version of Cypress to check like the recordings that it has been generated, to check the dashboard where like screenshots, recording video recordings will be generated inside the Cypress dashboard. So that is generally a paid version that Cypress has made. Playwright is a completely fully open source platform, which is completely free of cost. So to work with advanced level of Playwright, to work with any kind of things, we can directly, we do not have to pay any single amount. Whereas to work with advanced level of Cypress, example dashboard, where you can check the reporting, where you can check the test scripting, like screenshot of the test recording and so on, you have to do some kind of payment for going for a cloud version of the Cypress. And these are the few things that I have mentioned over here. These are the few things that makes the Playwright much better over Cypress. One more thing that we have, Cypress also have a by default, Cypress also have a default waiting time, but Cypress is having a default waiting time of 4 seconds, 4000 milliseconds in terms of Cypress. What is meant by default waiting time? That means it will try to wait for an element before performing some kind of action. So for that, it has given 4000 milliseconds, which is 4 seconds, whereas in terms of Playwright, it has given 30,000 milliseconds, which is 30 seconds. It will by default wait if the element have not appeared on the page. Okay. These are like few of the advantages that we have in terms of Playwright, and that is why we go for Playwright nowadays over Cypress. Does it answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
I just have
Yes.
one more question. Sorry.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So it's good to see the comparison between Cypress and Playwright. As you mentioned, Cypress is got paid version with limited features, and Playwright has got fully open with maximum features. But what they could benefit from Playwright? Like how come, and why would they put fully open source? I mean, they were getting some kind of financially from Cypress, then why would somebody give for free everything? In general, I'm asking.
Right, that's a general question, but it happens is like, see, whenever you provide some kind of supports for open source kind of, that will also generate a revenue. It is not something that it will not generate a revenue, right? So the Playwright have been developed by Microsoft. Okay, Playwright have been developed by Microsoft. Cypress have been developed by individual like contributor, which is Cypress.io. Okay, Playwright have been developed by a brand which is Microsoft, and they have developed it for the community that they can take the help of this to work with without paying any kind of amount. Now, whenever the community base increases, they'll get automatically paid for that. So generally, if I talk about how does the ads make a marketing? How does Google get the amount by running the ads? How does Google Ads work? Like generally, initially they'll charge you minimum amount, let's say $1. But by just paying it as $1, that they makes a billions of dollar in terms of the adding part, right? That is again a minimum amount that is taken from the users. In the same way, whenever they try to develop something which is for the open community, like open as a community, they will again make some kind of some kind of like revenues from the this open sources as well. There'll be a contributor. there will be a sponsored person. There'll be sponsoring for all these kind of values. And that's where nowadays most of the people comes for not for all the things, entire things, but most of the people comes for like some kind of open source where they can interact the people, where they can make the user base. And not only that, they usually get the data. Whenever we try to work with, they usually get some kind of data from us. And organization is basically, any of the organizations basically working for the data itself. And that's where they make some kind of revenue internally.
Thank you, Praveen. I have one more question, if it's okay.
Mhm.
In the previous slide, you showed that Playwright supports various devices and browsers. Just wondering, does it support the mobile real-time devices as well?
So
Playwright?
it supports emulator
Okay,
of
it simulates the browser, okay, rather than the real
simulates the browser.
device. Okay, thank
Right,
you.
exactly.
That answers my question.
Great. Okay, so it is basically Playwright is working to develop fully app support as well. That means mobile automation as well. That will be ready in probably next 6 months or a year of time. That will take a time. It might take an year as well, but they are working on for mobile automation part as well. Okay. So I again request, as I have requested earlier, so if anyone of you are new here, or if you have not shared your name and contact number yesterday, please try to share so that we can reach out to you with some of the documents. After tomorrow's session, whoever have shared the contact number and name, they'll start receiving some kind of document from my side, at least from my side. You'll start receiving the documents which will be needed for Playwright and JavaScript. So please do
So
share your contact number and name so that we can reach back to you.
is that in this chart here? Should we leave the name and
Yes,
contact? Okay, thank
yes,
you,
yes.
Praveen.
You can just leave inside the chat. Okay. Now, so to work with Playwright, we also have to install, and we'll see like what kind of installation that we have to do. And if time permits, we'll also write a basic test execution, basic test case, or we'll also see like how does basically Playwright works in terms of working with different languages. Over here, we'll be using JavaScript. So first thing, what is the prerequisite to work with? So whenever you go for, you can see like this is the document that I have prepared for our courses itself. This document consists of all the values, all the things that we require to work with Playwright. If you just refer this document, you will you'll be able to write the complete test case using Playwright. So in the same case, in the same way, I've also given what kind of basically requirement that we have before we go for installation of Playwright, or before we start working with Playwright, what kind of things that we require to have available inside our system, right? So in that case, either you are working with a Mac operating system, or you are working with like Windows operating system, you will have these kind of requirements. So first thing is like we need to have some kind of system available with us. So when we have a system available, we'll be able to write the test cases. So system requirements means you need to have some kind of operating system. Either it can be a Windows operating system, or it can be a MacBook or Linux kind of, or Ubuntu, whatever you are trying to use an operating system. Second, that we need to work with Playwright is a Node.js installed inside our system. So Node.js having a version of greater than 18. Okay, so Node.js we need to have inside our system to work with JavaScript, and again to later to work with Playwright. Apart from that, what do we require? So one thing that we require in terms of working with Playwright is we need to have a Node.js available inside our system, which need to have a version greater than 18. So the version greater than 18 we require to work with Playwright. The second second prerequisite that we need to have inside our system is an editor. Now, what is editor? Editor means wherever we can write the code, a place where we can write the code and store the code. So to work with JavaScript and Playwright, Visual Studio Code is an editor. Visual Studio Code is an editor. Again, this have been developed by Microsoft itself. Visual uh, Visual Studio Code. It is also known as VS Code. This is an editor which generally works in a much better way along with like JavaScript and TypeScript. And this is what we'll be using in terms of our courses as well, which is known as Visual Studio Code, a short form having as VS Code. So these are the two things that we require at minimum space to work with Playwright. And then as a third part, we'll go and install the Playwright package, Playwright jar or tools, Playwright package, Playwright. So these are the three things that we require to work with Playwright. Now, whenever we have to start working with JavaScript, from the next session onwards, when we start working with JavaScript, sorry, not Java, but JavaScript, when we go for in initial days for the couple of weeks, like for the 2 weeks, we'll just learn the JavaScript, complete basic to advanced level of JavaScript, which will be utilized in terms of test automation, and then we'll go for a Playwright. So at that point of time also, we require two things at a minimum space. One is Node.js and Visual Studio Code should be available inside our system. Okay, and then to work with Playwright, we also require a Playwright to be installed in our system. Let's see the installation of these three things to work with a Playwright. That means to work with installation of Playwright. Now, first that we require is Node.js. If you go through with this document that I have prepared, this will be enough to set up the complete framework, complete project inside the Playwright. What it says is install Node.js. Okay, now what is Node.js? So why are we trying to work with Node.js? Why are we trying to install Node.js? That we also have to understand. So Node.js is an open source, cross-platform. It is a JavaScript runtime environment. Now, if any one of you have worked with Java previously, you might be knowing that we need to install JRE or JDK. That JDK consists of JRE internally. What is JRE stands for? JRE means Java Runtime Environment. Why do we require those Java runtime environment, which will help us in running the code that we have written in Java? In the same way, we have a JRE available inside the Node.js. Basically, Node.js is working as a JRE, which is known as JavaScript Runtime Environment. The use of this Node.js is it will help us in running the code, whatever the code that we write using JavaScript. So whatever the code that we write using JavaScript, it will help us, Node.js will help us in running those code, executing those code, and give us the result back, whatever the intention of either the programming or test cases. Okay, that is why we require a Node.js to have inside our system. Along with the Node.js, NPM will also be installed. NPM will also be automatically installed. What is NPM? NPM stands for Node Packaging Manager. What is the use of this? So whatever the software that are available in the market that have been developed using Node.js and JavaScript, that is being managed by NPM itself. That is being managed by NPM itself. Now, what is the use of NPM? Okay, I understood this is being managed by NPM, but what is the use of it? So whenever we try to install any jars, whenever we try to install any package, or whenever we try to install any plugin that have been developed using Node.js and JavaScript, we can take the help of NPM to install those jars, those plugins, those tools to work inside our system. Example, Playwright have developed basically using JavaScript itself. So if we are trying to install the Playwright, we can take the help of NPM, which is managing the Playwright package as well to install inside our system. We'll see in the next couple of minutes that what is the use of NPM. So first thing that we require is to install a Node.js. So to install Node.js, we can simply go to any of the browser that you are trying to use. Go to browser and then any of the browser you can take and then search here known as Node.js download or install Node.js. Okay. As soon as you hit enter, it will display some kind of result, and first result will be download Node.js. Okay, so you can click on that, and it will take us to the like head, like main website of the Node.js, where it generally have some kind of download version, generally have some kind of version available. Okay, so inside this, if you go, you can see some options over here. This is displaying, depending on the operating system, it will automatically calculate what kind of operating system that you are using. Currently, I'm using Windows, so it is displaying Windows. If you're using Mac, then it will display Mac OS over here. Okay, this is the latest version that are available in the market. If you see, there are it is saying that there is a version available which is 23.7.0, which is a current version. What we have to install is we have to install some a version which have been marked with LTS. LTS stands for latest stable version. So this is the version that are available. Whatever the latest version that are available, which is stable in the market, that will display automatically over here. So depending on the operating system, it will automatically display the installation over here. It will display you Windows installer or Mac installer. Okay, you can click on this and it will start downloading a executable file. So this will basically generate an executable file over here. So this will be something like this. Okay, inside my system, I have already installed multiple times. So there are Node.js already available inside my system. But what it says is this will, as soon as you click on the downloaded file, whatever the downloaded file that is available, you can click on that and this will open a executable file like this. Okay, a software which will help you to install the Node.js. You can click on next, and again in the next step, it will ask you to accept the license. You can click on this checkbox, click on next. This is the file. This is basically saying that this Node.js will install at this location, which is by default for a window. For a MacBook, that will be C, then users, your name. Inside that, it will be available. Okay, in terms of Windows, this will be available at this. If you want to change the folder, you can change by clicking on the change option over here. Okay, but let's keep it as by default wherever it is storing. And then you can click on next, again next, couple of times. Click on this automatically install the necessary tools, and then again click on next over here. At the end, you'll get one install button which will ask you to click and give them the permission to install like this, which is yes. It will ask you yes or no question. You can click on yes. That means you are allowing Node.js to install inside your local system. Within few seconds, it will be ready to install depending on your, again, internet speed. So it is what it is saying is I already have a Node.js available inside the system having a similar version. So it is saying that you can simply close as I have already installed in our system, but it is again trying to install. That means overriding the previous version that I have. In terms of your system, it will after like few seconds or few minutes, depending on the internet speed, it will display a button over here as finish. Okay, so this will simply say it as finish. For now, I'll click on cancel. You can wait for and you can click on finish button that you will get after a successful installation of the Node.js. Okay, so at the end, it will display you a finish button. There you can click on finish. As soon as you click on finish, the installation will be completed. Okay, now how do I know that really the Node.js have been installed successfully? So for that, you can open a command prompt or a terminal, whatever that you are trying to use. If you're trying to use Windows, then you can open a command prompt. If you're using MacBook, then you can open a terminal and type over here node space minus minus version. Node space minus minus version. If it is able to provide you the value, if it is able to provide you the some kind of version that it has installed, that means Node.js have been installed successfully. Okay. If it is saying like node is not recognized as internal or external command, that means it is throwing some kind of error over here. Okay. So that means it is throwing some kind of error over here. Now, earlier I said, along with the Node.js, npm will also be installed. Okay, so npm will also be installed. So how do we know that the npm have been installed? So for that, again, you can type a command known as npm npm space minus version. And this will also display you the latest version that is available in the market for npm. If it is displaying the version that it has displayed over here, in my case, that means Node.js have been successfully installed inside our system. That means first things that we wanted to install have been successfully done over here. So this have been completed. Okay. Now we have to install Visual Studio Code. What is Visual Studio Code? Something like this. Whatever the value that you see over here is a Visual Studio Code. Whatever the value that you see over here is a Visual Studio Code. This is the editor, which is a Visual Studio Code editor. So this I already have installed. But to install inside your system, you can again go to browser and search for Visual Studio Code download. Simply Visual Studio Code download. Inside the result, you can click on the first result, which is download Visual Studio Code. And depending on your operating system, you can click on whatever the operating system that it is displaying. Any question over here? Yes.
Yeah. Hi, Praveen. Islam here.
Yes. Yes.
So as you said that for the node, we need to have the version 18, right? Like is the minimum
Greater
we should
than
have.
18. Right. Right.
So similarly for npm, do we need to have like a minimum of 8 or 10 or 6 version like that?
No. So we are generally not trying to install like exclusively npm. Whatever the latest version will be along with the Node.js, it will automatically install along with the Node.js itself.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
So here we do not require any specific version for the npm because we are not trying to exclusively install that. It will be a part of Node.js itself.
Thanks.
Okay. Now we are trying to install Visual Studio Code. So depending on your operating system, you can click on that value. So let's say in my case, it is window. So you can click on window and within few seconds, it will again start downloading an executable file over here. This will also download the executable software. Executable software means which will allow you to download, which is like .exe. .exe means executable. Okay, this will be again a software. This will ask us to install this. In my case, it is saying that there are some of the things that is running inside your system. So I cannot install. If you want to install, you can close all this. And then by this time, it will again start installing. So here again, you will see this kind of screen on at your side. You have to first accept the license and then click on next couple of times. Over here, you can also check this, which is create a desktop icon. So it will also create a desktop icon like this, whatever I have, this one that you see over here, that will display over here in our case as well. If you try to say, create a desktop icon. Okay. Now you can simply click on this, click on over here, and also this will anyways by default will be click, which is add to path. You can check and uncheck, but it always better that you keep checked it itself. This path of this particular file will be added inside our local system, inside the environment variables. And then you can click on next and then click on install over here. So as soon as you say install, this will start installing the Visual Studio Code inside our system. This will again take, depending on the internet speed, from few seconds to few minutes, it will take to install complete installation of Visual Studio Code. Now, how do we know that this will be installed? This have been installed successfully inside our system. It's just you can go inside this. You can click on finish, and by default, it will launch your case. So in my case, it has basically launched with whatever the previously it was open. But in your case, this will be something like this. And you will also get a welcome screen at the first time. You'll also get welcome screen for the first time. Okay, which will have like this kind of command will be displayed over here, which is like this. Show all commands like this, open file, control O. These kind of value will be displayed over there inside your welcome screen. Okay, as I have already used from a long time, so it is not generally displaying anything over here in terms of welcome screen, but in general, this will display for you a welcome screen. With this, we have installed two things. One is Node.js and Visual Studio Code have been installed successfully to work with JavaScript. So if you now want to work with JavaScript, you can directly start working with JavaScript. Now we'll also see like how do we do the installation of Playwright. Okay, so to install Playwright, generally what happens is like whenever you try to practice or whenever you try to write a code or whenever you try to create a framework, we create a folder inside our local system, right? We generally create a folder inside our local system. What is the use of folder? We create a folder so that we can, whatever the code, whatever the lines of code or whatever the framework that we'll be creating, that will be available inside that particular folder, right? So that we can refer at any point of time, we can open that at any point of time by just going through that particular folder wherever we have written our code. And that will be stored, whatever the test case that we write, whatever the programs that we write, or whatever the code that we write will be available in that particular folder, right? So for that, inside this Visual Studio Code, I'll also give you a tour of this like Visual Studio Code in our later sessions. But to basically create a folder, we have two options. One is you can click on this file menu option, and then from there you can click on open folder. Okay, so inside this will take us to our local system, and you can go to wherever like you are trying to store your or you are trying to create your folder. Inside anywhere you can simply go, and wherever you are trying to store, you can go inside that and create a folder over here. So I'll just say it as I have this one which is having some kind of value, some already available folder. So I'll go and create over here a folder with some name. So I'll give over here, let's say Playwright TypeScript, Playwright JavaScript, and then we'll give some name over here. Let's say sure, then Fev, which is again Fev. You can give like a lowercase letter as well. There is no harm in that. And then 2025. Okay, so I've created this folder and then I'm trying to select this folder. So as soon as we select this folder, that particular folder will be installed in our system. Okay, so this folder basically installed in our have appeared in our system, which will basically in the initial stage, it will be a completely empty. As we have not written any kind of value, so it is empty over here. Right? There is no values, there is no file, there is no class have been created inside this folder. Now we are trying to work with Playwright over here, right? So we are trying to work with Playwright. Do we have any questions over here? Okay. So now we are trying to work with Playwright over here, like to installation of Playwright. Let's see how easy it used to be when we compare in terms of working with Selenium. So you can open a terminal. So we'll generally be going for using a command to install the Playwright. Okay. So for that, we have to go to a terminal. Inside the Visual Studio Code, there is an option known as terminal. Inside the Visual Studio Code, there is an option known as terminal. And that terminal you can open in 3 different ways. One is having a shortcut as control, and then you see this negation option will be there, negate option, which will be just above, or backtick option, which will be just above your tab keyword on your keyboard, or just left side of your number 1 inside your keyboard. Okay, so you can simply click, do a click and then you can perform backtick, which will directly open the terminal. You can see this is option. This is the option that we have, which is control and backtick. Okay. Second option is you can go to a view menu option over here and then go to a terminal. It will again open the terminal for us. Third option is you can go to three dots over here. Click on three dots, click on terminal and then click on new terminal. This will again open our terminal. And fourth option that we have over here is you'll see one option known as having a symbol as cross cancel option, which is having a no problem. It is displaying over here. So you can click on this, it will take us to the problems. And then from there, you can click on terminal over here. So this will also take us to the terminal. We are currently in the root folder wherever we have created this particular folder. So it will automatically get the path of the folder wherever we have created. Now we are trying to install Playwright, right? Now we are trying to install Playwright. How do we install Playwright over here? This is again, one of an important session, which will be helpful for us at the time of when we start working on JavaScript and when we start working on real test case writing for Playwright. So this class will be important in terms of installation part. So earlier I said, whenever we try to install anything which have been developed using JavaScript or which have been managed by Node.js, which is like managed by npm, we have to use a command known as npm. To install anything which is being managed by npm, we have to use npm. Npm stands for Node Packaging Manager, and then say it over here as init, and then Playwright. These are the three words that this command consists of: npm, init, Playwright. We are saying over here that Node Packaging Manager, init stands for initialize. What initialization? Do a Playwright initialization over here. So we are seeing in a single sentence, we are saying that Node Packaging Manager initialize the Playwright package over here. Okay. As soon as we hit enter, it will start downloading of the software, which is Playwright. Download of the Playwright tool that we are trying to install over here, or installation of Playwright inside our system, inside this particular folder. Currently, you see this is available as a empty, right? Now, as we are trying to install with npm, so it is providing us at the time of installation, it will ask us few questions. Do you want to use TypeScript or JavaScript as a language? Currently, we are trying to use JavaScript, so you can simply select JavaScript by using up arrow and down arrow key on your keyboard. So just select JavaScript and again hit enter. Next question, it will ask you, where do you want to put your end-to-end test case? This is again important steps, but it will ask you, where do you want to put your end-to-end test case? So for that, it will create again a folder name as test. Okay, you can by default keep this and again click on enter or hit enter. After that, it will ask you, do you want to create a GitHub Actions workflow? That means, do you want to create a CI/CD pipeline for GitHub? By default, it will be false. I'll keep it as false for now. And then it will ask you to install Playwright browsers. By default, it will be true. You can keep it as true and hit enter. Now, this means when you say like install Playwright browser, this will not install anything inside your system. Even if you do not have any browser installed inside your system, Playwright will work. Playwright will work in a seamless way. Like that means, though you do not have any browser, it will automate on whatever the browser that you mention over here. Okay, so you see, like within few seconds, not even 30 seconds, within 13 to 15 seconds, like this has taken 2 seconds and 13 seconds. Usually within 20 seconds of time, the complete setup of framework or project of the Playwright have been set up over here. Everything have been set up. If you see a message that happy hacking, that means Playwright have been installed successfully inside our system. Okay.
Sorry, Praveen, we're getting an error here when we run the command. It's in the chart. Can you please look into that?
Right. I know what is the error. That might be due to a permission error over here. Right. Um, right. So this is a permission error that you have. That means your system is not allowing you to install anything by using npm currently inside
Okay.
your system. Okay. Now for
Okay.
that, we also have a solution. I have already written over here something which we can see. Let me try to see somewhere I have written this step because
Can we
most
not
of the
use sudo command, like which may take the
you
admin
can
rights? Okay.
you can use the sudo command, but generally you can use these two commands over here. This will not get you any kind of issues. First, you use this one, get execution policy. It will give you that you do not have permission, and then
Hmm.
you can set this permission to execute any kind of command.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Thank you.
So this command will solve or resolve this kind of error, whatever you are trying to get. Okay. So as soon as you hit enter, no, within 30 seconds or within 20 seconds of time, the complete setup of Playwright framework or Playwright project will be installed in your system. And it will also give some kind of commands over here. This we will again be using going forward whenever we go for writing the real test cases. So these commands will be helpful for running the test case, opening the code gen that we were talking yesterday regarding uh, automatic generation of the test script. This will also open interactive terminal like UI mode, which is also known as Playwright Inspector tool, which used to be very helpful for us in terms of running the test case. So how does this inspector tool looks like? So let's see over here. So this is npx playwright test hyphen UI. This will open an inspector playwright tool, which will consist of the total number of test cases that we have written till now. So it will simply go and install, not install, but it will open the playwright inspector tool. So this is the Playwright Inspector tool where you can generally see how many number of test case that we have written. And from here also you can execute your test case. So if you see, if you can click on this, it start running the test case. And what is the help of this Playwright Inspector tool is this will be helpful for us in terms of debugging purpose. So you can see that automatically it has started execution. You can see the actions. You can see what happened before this step. You can also see what happened after the test case, after the step execution. So for this, if you see, this is a method that it has written. It is saying that action I'll perform is to launch the URL. What happened before? The page was blank. What happened after launching the URL? It has launched successfully the URL. Now in the next line, it is um, trying to do some kind of assertion where it is trying to check if the title of this particular test case, this page is consist of playwright or not. So what happened? What is action? It
Hello,
is
sir.
saying that yes,
Hello.
yes, yes.
So I'm facing some issue related to the playwright. I shared the screenshot in the chat.
Hmm?
Yeah, this one, Pratik Patel.
Yeah, I mean, that is my message. I had the same.
Right. Even after setting up this is throwing you an error,
Yeah.
what you can do is you can restart your Visual Studio Code, or you can
Ah,
restart your terminal and that will start again. You can open a fresh terminal and that will start again. Okay, for some people it is basically working. You can see in our chat as well. Okay, but do not worry if there are any kind of issues that will also again be taken care in our other sessions, like going forward sessions as well. So in this case, this Playwright Inspector is a tool which will help us, which will basically be helpful for us in terms of debugging purpose. This is very easy in terms of navigating inside the application. Okay, so everything have been set up over here. Now you might be wondering, where did we write the test case? So at the time of installation, Playwright by default give two different test cases. One is this one, another is this one. So it writes basically provide us two different test case. for us to check like how do we write the test case. And along with that, inside another folder, it provides us 30 number of test case, 30 odd number of test case that it has given inside this folder, where it generally says that by using these kind of things, you can do some kind of values and so on. Anyways, we'll see all these kind of details in going forward session of the Playwright. For now, I'll simply delete this folder, which we do not require. But inside this, if you see, there are a couple of test case that it has written. This is how we generally write the test case in terms of Playwright, by using a test function over here. And for that test function, we have to import test and expect function from Playwright test module. This again requires an explanation of at least 30 minutes of time. Why do we import? How do we write the test case? What is page over here? What is async and await concept? Okay, so this kind of explanation we'll go through with our Playwright session once we start with the Playwright. Before that, we'll go for understanding of the complete JavaScript, and then we'll move to the Playwright. So this is how we generally set up the Playwright framework. Playwright is not only a tool, Playwright is also known as a framework. Okay, and that's where we can see that it has given a function which will be helpful for us in writing the test case. Expect function is helping us to write the assertions. Okay, which if you have worked with Selenium, then you might be knowing that to write the test case, we have to take the help of either TestNG, JUnit, or BDD Cucumber framework. And for the assertions as well, again, we have to use a TestNG or JUnit again to write the assertions. Okay, so this is the complete setup of the framework, the Playwright framework that we have done over here. If you are still facing any kind of issues, let me know. Like I'll try to resolve it or by connecting with Manana.
Yeah, thanks,
Can I share my
Praveen.
screen?
Is it still throwing similar issues?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did try the same. I just have a question there, Praveen. Can we not install through extensions in the Visual Studio Code, the Playwright, rather than running through npm command? Do we have
It's
an
always
alternative?
no, but it is always better that there are options which is like you can download the jars, but it is always better to work with npm, to install with npm, because that uh, that uh, like npm we require in terms of running the test case as well. So we'll sort it out. In the initial days, few of the people started getting this kind of error from the last couple of months that I have been observing this. But anyways, like we'll sort it out over here. I'll connect with you, Pratik, Ram, and I'll connect with you after our session.
Sure.
Once we complete our session over here.
Sure, sir.
Okay, great. So with this, I'll stop the session over here. There is again one thing which we have to write is write a basic test case, which we'll go through in our next session. We'll try to complete a basic test case for this registration part. This is a dummy application that we have. For this, we'll try to do a registration over here. For this, we'll try to create a test case in our next session. And from there on, we'll start learning basics of JavaScript and we'll go to the advanced level of JavaScript as well. For now, if you people have any kind of questions related to anything that you have uh, in your mind to ask, any kind of questions, any kind of doubt regarding the courses, regarding the course completion, regarding the course content, feel free to ask. I'll provide you the answer over here. So over to you, people.
Can you cover interview questions?
Can you cover?
Interview questions?
Yes, yes. So Kavita, I think if you can watch it through our previous recording, I have given this kind of clarification over there.
Okay.
So all the details I have given in our previous session, you can go through with there. That will answer your all the questions. But if it is not, you feel free to ask anytime, either in the group or in the session as well. I'll be happy to answer.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Okay, okay. Yes, Lakshmikant. Lakshmikant, you can try speaking. I believe I'm not able to hear you. Right. That is what I said earlier. Restarting the Visual Studio Code will start running. Pratik, can you try doing that? Restart the Visual Studio Code. That means close the Visual Studio Code and try to launch it again.
Sir,
Probably it might.
I did it twice, but it
Okay, no
gives the
worries, no
same error.
worries, no worries. I'll connect with you.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other question from anyone else? I'll again request if few people have not shared your contact number and name, please try to do so. And then we'll reach back to you with some kind of documentation that we were going through in our session.
Sure. Praveen, could you also ping me once you are done? Just want to have a quick word with you.
Yes, yes.
Thank you.
This recording will be shared by the Isha team that I do not have any control on. So that they will be sharing the recording as soon as possible. Whatever the possible will be, and they'll try to share. Lakshmikant, I see you have pinged. You have one query. If you can try to speak, I'm unable to hear you. If anyone else is able to hear him, please let me know. So any other kind of questions you have, please feel free to ask. You can ask if your mic is not working or if you have any kind of issues. You can feel free to ask the question inside the group chat as well. I'll be answering the question over there as well. Okay. If no questions,
In order to execute the script, do we need to have PowerShell?
no. That is, terminal itself is known as a PowerShell over there.
Okay.
Okay. So that is it. If you do not have any other questions from anyone else, so you want to create a 2 folder over there. Yes, can you please elaborate your? I have 2 projects. For that, okay, Lakshmikant, for that you have to create 2 different windows over here. So this is the option. This is one. This is one folder, and for to create another project or another file, you can. If you are trying to create another project, you can go to File menu, click on New Window. It will open a fresh window, and here you can try to create or open new project. Generally, as like IntelliJ or Eclipse allows, this will not allow you to open um, two different project or two different framework inside the same window. So it will ask you to create another window, and that's where you will be able to use. So if you see over here, I have created 2 different windows having 2 different project over here. Okay. So if that is your question, then you have to create 2 different windows separately. Yes.
So in terms of the sessions, right? Like, do you want us to practically work while going through the session,
No.
or should we have to pause and once you finish, we can kick off doing that in our machine? What is the best procedure would you like us to follow?
Right. So after the session, you can start working on. So as soon as we complete the session, so this again depends on if you are trying to practice at the same time as I speak in the session, you can practice it out, or else even after finishing our session, you can start practicing it out as well whenever you get time. Generally, I suggest people to understand the concept in the session. If you are able to do the multitasking kind of things, you can practice out over there. If not, then you can practice it going forward as well. When I say like going forward, that means after completion of the session. And whatever the doubt that you have, that doesn't mean like let's say if I have explained some kind of concept today, and after a week, if you try to ask me the question, that doesn't mean like I'll not answer. I'll still answer for that question even after a month as well for any kind of topic that you have a doubt of or a confusion of.
Hi, Praveen. Now you able to hear, right?
Yes, Lakshmikant. Yes.
Okay, okay. I think previously I have some network issue, so that's why
Mhm.
I'm unable to. So my question is, if I have 2 projects, so I want to create 2 separate folders, and inside the folder again, I want to run the installation process.
Exactly. Yes. Inside both of the folder.
Okay, thank you. That's it.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
in some project, for Microsoft, we have a poly retry mechanism. So I think we have retries in this as well, right? In order to overcome threat of sleep.
In order to work with thread.sleep,
Means in Selenium we have thread of sleep, right?
we have
To
we
overcome
have
that, we have
uh,
retries, right?
we have implicit wait and explicit wait in terms of Selenium to overcome with thread.sleep.
Yeah. So
Right.
Playwright has the inbuilt retries option, am I correct?
Playwright has inbuilt auto waiting concept. Yes. So
Retry mechanism, like
retries
Selenium.
mechanism also it has automatically.
Yeah.
I'll
So
I'll
like
explain.
Selenium, we have retry analyzer, which is an interface, right?
Right. IT
So in
analyzer, which is an
Playwright, we
interface.
have number of retries we need to specify.
Exactly. So if you see inside the playwright config.js, there is something known as retries. So
Yeah.
inside that, you can mention the number of times that you are trying to do a retries. This is again one advantage over Selenium, that you do not have to write even a single line of code to retry, to write the retry logic, to write the fully parallel logic, to run your test case parallelly, or to take this screenshot, or to launch the browser. Whatever you see over here, this has, we'll see, like we'll discuss this in our next session, and then you will completely understand this concept.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Any other question for now? Okay. Great. Then, if no questions, thanks a lot, everyone, for joining the session. And we'll again continue tomorrow uh, at the same time. Till then, like, thanks a lot and take care of yourself. Thanks a lot, everyone, for joining. And we'll continue again tomorrow.
Thank you.